What are the best inventions, innovations of this century? I know there would be a few that come to your mind right away. I mean, the iPhone, that would be on the top of the list for me. I think the iPhone changed everything. Then you've got things like the James Webb Telescope that really opened our eyes to the heavens in a way that hadn't been done before. You've got the Tesla Model S, changed vehicles forever. Time magazine recently took a look at the best inventions, innovations of this century. They mentioned the ones that I just brought up, but they also included on the list Montreal's own BIXI, our public bike system that launched here in 2008 and has gone around the globe. Let's go to Emma Barker now, editorial director for Time magazine, on the line. Emma, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Why don't you talk to our listeners here about the task, the challenge that was ahead of you and your team in coming up with the list of really the best here?
Yeah, of course. So we've been doing the annual Best Inventions issue since the year 2000. And obviously our publication is over 100 years old now, so we have a lot of experience with going back through our archives and pulling out the most interesting things and kind of being able to look at historically what has stood the test of time. So we spent, this year being 2025, we spent a good amount of time going back through all of our Best Inventions issues since 2000 and seeing what stood out as sort of quirky and weird and did not at all stand the test of time, and the things that really ended up impacting the world. And there were some obvious things, like you mentioned, the iPhone. Obviously, that was on the list when it first came out. Many Apple inventions have been, and those are still around and have impacted our world greatly. But there's a lot of things that people don't think of, and maybe they've changed names, BIXI being one of them. BIXI was originally featured on the list as Montreal's public bike system, I believe it was originally titled. And I know it's changed hands a few times, the ownership, but the underlying technology that was developed for that bike system has gone on to influence micromobility all around the world and in dozens and dozens of cities. And that's really what the invention was here and why we decided to include it.
So I want to get into that because, BIXI in this city, it's contentious at times. You probably see this. It doesn't matter what big city you live in North America. Anytime a city wants to put in a bike path or expand bike sharing, it turns into cars versus bikes. It turns into a battle. And, listen, I host a talk radio show. I hear it from the drivers, right? I can tell already, about this battle that happens in so many cities. But if you could, for our listeners, because some they don't want to even acknowledge it. They want to just mock BIXI. They want to mock bike sharing. But then when you look at the stats, like, it has been a success. So maybe if you could make the case to our listeners about just what BIXI has been able to accomplish, both in Montreal but worldwide.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think micromobility as a broader trend has had a huge positive influence in terms of getting people out of cars, getting people out and active, and getting people around the city, expanding walkable neighborhoods into a broader area that people can bike to but maybe can't walk to. And I think, everywhere from London, New York, Chicago have had these great experiences with public bike systems that, yes, there are kind of the junky ones where you end up seeing discarded bikes on the side of the road and they're not so well taken care of. And I think that's where BIXI was really influential. But BIXI, essentially the underlying technology, invented the solar power docking stations, the tracking tags that allow the company to go out and get discarded bikes or not working bikes, the fully enclosed parts that better resist weather and tampering. Those were all Montreal inventions that made the system better. Some of these other systems that we see that aren't run by this, which is now called Lift Urban Solutions, they don't have the docking stations, so the bikes are more scattered. You see a lot more of that kind of thing, and I think the really successful ones have come out of this technology.
And as you point out in Time, right? 2024, 13 million trips on BIXI and more than 180 million globally. So the case for impact is right there, just in those couple of figures. I want to ask you about one more thing on this list, actually, while I have time with you this morning. We are with Emma Barker from Time Magazine talking about their innovations and inventions list. So Emma, you know what? And I'm a little bit disappointed at myself for not picking up on this earlier. On your list is the Las Vegas sphere, okay? And that's, you know what? And maybe you may not be aware of this, but the LED technology comes out of Montreal. It's a company, Sacco Technology out of Montreal, is responsible for those incredible LED screens. Let's talk about why the sphere made the list.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to. I didn't think you'd bring that up on the on a Montreal radio show, but happy to talk about the sphere. The sphere was actually on the Best Inventions cover a couple of years ago when it first opened. And I think it's one of the most iconic buildings to have opened in the past, decade, perhaps. You don't think of a lot of really iconic architectural buildings in the past, 5 to 10 years. This is one of them that really stands out. And I think it was innovative both on an entertainment level as well as just an architectural level and a cultural impact level.
Yeah, and like I said, we've been looking at it. Everyone I know that's gone to the sphere just comes away amazed. And we should be crowing about it in this city. Like I said, the technology that makes the sphere possible comes out of Montreal. So it's always been a fascinating thing to me. Emma, listen, I have to leave it there. I'll direct all of our listeners to go to the Time website and check out the Time magazine list of the innovations and inventions of this century. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That's Emma Barker, editorial director for Time magazine.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.